Hi, it's Mikexingchen. Man is in an endless pursuit to achieve immortality. For as far as mankind's written history allows us to recall, humanity has always been fascinated in finding ways to extend our lifespan in the hopes of slowing, if not putting a permanent stop to our body's inevitable biological aging process. For some, our attempts at prolonging life is limited to the more conventional method of leading a healthy lifestyle by eating nourishing foods, exercising, and maintaining a positive and tranquil state of mind. However, at several points in our past, we find people who have pushed the boundaries of human creativity and imagination in their attempt to gain eternal youth. So in this video, let's talk about some of the most insane things people have done throughout history to achieve immortality. Number 1, bathing in sour donkey milk. Cleopatra came to be known in history as the last Ptolemaic queen of Egypt and is arguably the most famous member of the Ptolemaic dynasty's royal line. But other than her role in the Roman political conflicts that eventually led to the downfall of the last dynasty of ancient Egypt, she also gained notoriety for her striking beauty and irresistible allure. As to how she managed to retain her youthful and brilliant glow, Cleopatra regularly bathed in sour donkey milk. Not just regular donkey milk, sour donkey milk. In ancient times, donkey milk was used as some kind of chemical peel, as the lactic acid it contains peels off the topmost layer of the human skin. The queen was also believed to be fascinated with using other means to maintain and enhance her physical appearance, such as utilizing crocodile poo as a rudimentary form of makeup foundation. Number 2, drinking the blood of gladiators. The Romans were very creative when it came to coming up with various and sometimes revolting concoctions in an attempt to improve their health or extend their lifespan. One example of an unpleasant habit that the Romans largely practiced for centuries is drinking the blood of gladiators. As people who fought to the death for a living, gladiators were highly regarded for their bravery, strength, and vitality. And it was believed that those who want to inherit a gladiator's power must drink the warrior's warm blood in order to consume his essence and soul. In fact, some people who suffered from epilepsy at the time considered the blood of gladiators as an effective cure for their afflictions. The blood was such a hot commodity during this era that people would rush down into the arena and sip a vanquished fighter's blood straight from his arm or throat to absorb his power. There were also even concession stands that made a lucrative living by selling the blood of these gladiators while the blood servings were still warm. Number 3, consumption of immortality pills and elixirs of life. The Western world was not the only civilization interested in finding the answer to attaining eternal youth. Imperial China's history is also filled with tales of men or groups of people who have dedicated much of their life in concocting immortality pills and elixirs of life that would grant ceaseless existence. Be it physical or spiritual, many Chinese alchemists have dared to make their own formulas of pills and elixirs that could supposedly seize and potentially even reverse the process of human aging. These efforts were largely supported by several emperors as well as members of the noble bloodline who hoped death would not be able to take away their power, influence, and legacy. The first emperor of the Qing dynasty, Qin Shi Huang, for example, was not just known for being the first ruler to unify China, he was also known for his obsession in finding the key to immortality. He sent people away to look in different parts of his vast empire for a real elixir of life that would grant him eternal life. He even took immortality pills which were formulated by his alchemists. In the end, of course, nothing really worked and the emperor died young at the age of 39. And the most likely cause of his demise was mercury poisoning, perhaps from all the immortality pills he consumed during his brief life. Unfortunately, the dream of living forever was not exclusive to Qin Shi Huang. Many other emperors of China that came after him also regularly consumed immortality pills and drink elixirs which contained toxic substances, and instead of extending their lives, these pills and elixirs only shortened the duration of their respective reigns. Number 4, self-mummification. Mummification is the process which involves the intentional or incidental preservation of a deceased's skin, flesh, and organs, but not all mummified bodies were preserved after their death. Some people in the past deliberately commenced the preservation modification of their bodies while they were still alive in order to achieve a superior and more enlightened state of being. Shokusen Butsu is an aesthetic practice of Buddhist monks largely performed in Japan, which is believed to have started sometime in the 11th century. This extreme Buddhist practice involved the shunning of all worldly pleasures to the point that the monks would enter a process of self-mummification even while they were still alive. And this thing would actually take a while. It requires a period of around 3,000 days or up to 10 years before the entire process is completed by devoted monks. They would have to follow a very strict diet referred to as Mukuji Kikyo, which literally translates to eating a tree. This means that the monk could not eat anything more than the seeds and resins that could be gathered in the mountains and must abstain from eating cereals. Eventually, these monks would fast and meditate for longer periods of time until they completely starved themselves, denying their bodies even the consumption of liquids. Even in this weakened condition, they would continue to be in a state of meditation until they died. Then their dehydrated bodies would become naturally preserved mummies that are still revered by many followers of Buddhism. Some people today even still regard these mummified monks as very much alive, although their bodies are said to be in a deep meditative trance. Hundreds of Buddhist monks in Japan attempted to achieve this extreme form of meditative state, but only 24 monks so far were granted the status of being the living Buddha. Number 5, drinking gold chloride. Amongst the most notable cases of people who have pursued eternal youth is that of Diane de Poitiers, the mistress of King Henry II of France. The king's official wife was Catherine de Medicis, but he found much comfort in having the widow Diane de Poitiers as his companion even though she was 20 years older than him. History books wrote of her youthful appearance and her porcelain-like skin that never seemed to fade even as she grew older. That's because the mistress took great lengths to ensure that she maintained her physique. She kept in shape by swimming daily, horseback riding, and hunting. However, the beauty secret that ensured permanence of her great white skin is her regular consumption of an elixir which contained a mixture of gold chloride and diethyl ether. This concoction was very popular at French court and was believed at the time to be an effective anti-aging treatment for its ability to harness the power of the sun and transfer it to its drinker. However, her obsession with keeping her youthful beauty came at a great cost, as her desire to look forever young and the remedy she resorted to in order to preserve her appearance was the one that slowly and eventually killed her. At age 66, her daily dose of gold chloride indeed made her look half her actual age, but she is also thought to have succumbed to the secondary effects of the concoction, that is chronic gold poisoning. But hey, 66 is not bad. Also guys, let me know in the comments below if you could take an elixir of immortality. Let's say that's true, someone gave it to you for $1 and it is the real elixir of immortality. Would you take it? You know what, I think I would if it wasn't just the elixir of immortality. Let's say it was the elixir of eternal youth, then I would take it, because if it's just living forever but you're really old, I think that would be pretty miserable. But let me know what you think. Would you take the elixir? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I'll see you later.